Hey, lovelies, if you're looking to improve your vocabulary, you're on the right channel. Today, we're going to learn some words and expressions with Dr. Jordan Peterson. I hope you enjoy this one too.
And this is partly why I have some sympathy for Tommy Robinson, let's say, because it is definitely the case that to take a stand against this is to make yourself a target for the worst sort of calumny and legal action.
The first word of this lesson is calumny. Calumny. But what does it mean? This is a false statement to damage someone's reputation. We pronounce it calumny. It's a noun with stress on the first part. Let's go back and hear this word again.
Say, because it is definitely the case that to take a stand against this is to make yourself a target for the worst sort of calumny and legal action. So the threat is real. And the cancel culture types are very good at identifying individuals and bringing reputation savaging to bear on them in an extremely effective way.
The next vocabulary item of this lesson is to bring something to bear. Now, we typically use this phrase in a positive way. It means to use or apply, for instance, resources. You could say that the teacher brings his experience and knowledge to bear in the course. But Jordan is using this phrase to carry a negative connotation. So he's saying that they use these manipulative tactics to damage someone's reputation. So let's go back and hear that phrase again.
The cancel culture types are very good at identifying individuals and bringing reputation savaging to bear on them in an extremely effective way. So people had reason to be afraid. Now, I'm not saying that that fear justifies their silence or their complicity, but
complicity refers to being involved in some sort of wrongdoing, and usually indirectly. Maybe not independently carrying out an act of crime, but being involved in that kind of illicit or wrong activity. So let's pronounce it together. Complicity. Complicity. And the adjective is complicit. Complicit. So he says that their complicity in their silence is not justified. It's not good that they're complicit and silent and quiet and not saying anything about it, but
we have to be clear about the fact that their fear is real.
Yeah.
Now, there's another aspect to that that's even uglier than this, I think, Pierce, which is that, look, we know that when you destabilize a community with rapid transformation, this could be, let's say, with regards to the green agenda that makes energy more expensive or to uncontrolled immigration, any rapid change with economic consequences demolishes the lower rungs of the socioeconomic hierarchy.
A rung refers to a step on a ladder. So the lowest rung is the lowest step on this hierarchy. Hierarchy is kind of like a pecking order where some people are at the top, some people are at the bottom. And this rapid change, this very fast transformation will demolish, will completely destroy the lowest rung, the lowest class, the lowest level of that socioeconomic hierarchy. A couple good words there. So let's pronounce them together. Hierarchy, hierarchy. And what was the other word? Rung, rung. When we pronounce this word, we barely produce the g sound. So we say rung, rung.
Controlled immigration, any rapid change with economic consequences demolishes the lower rungs of the socioeconomic hierarchy, most particularly, right? They say that when the aristocracy catches a cold, the working class die of pneumonia. And that's a deep biological and sociological truth. Now, one of the corollaries of that, and this is where
one of the corollaries. So what is a corollary? This is a natural outcome of something. It's kind of like a result that is achieved as a consequence of something that has happened in the past. So there is an action, and then there is a consequence of that action. Now, this could be a very natural consequence. It could be a very natural outcome, and that is a corollary. Corollary. By the way, if you want to figure out how these words are spelled, check out the description.
It's ugly is that it's very easy for the elite, especially in a relatively class-based system like the UK, to virtue signal about their progressive openness and their cosmopolitan sophistication.
When you virtue signal, you want others to think that you are good, that you are virtuous, but you really are not. You just say things to please those people or to attract some sort of attention, but you're not genuinely good. You're not genuinely virtuous.
while sacrificing the genuinely poor and dispossessed, so the English working class, to the depredations of whatever virtue signaling policy happens to be conveniently at hand.
Depredation is a good word. It's an advanced word which refers to the act of attacking something or someone, destroying something, to also plunder, which means to take goods and properties that don't belong to you. And this is to plunder. So we have depredation. This is done by predatory individuals. That's an advanced word, and we rarely use it in everyday conversation. That's a good word, depredation. Let's go back and hear that word again in this context.
Genuinely poor and dispossessed, so the English working class, to the depredations of whatever virtue signaling policy happens to be conveniently at hand. And so partly it's cowardice, partly it's fear of say, being singled out and canceled, but it's also partly willingness on the part of the elite to sacrifice the genuinely downtrodden and poor to the
Downtrodden is an adjective, and it refers to usually a group of people whose rights are violated. They don't have that much, for instance, money, or their basic human rights are transgressed upon. So we have the word down as a noun, and then we have downtrodden. To tread is to walk, and trodden is like walked on. So you can think of it that way, that their rights are trampled on. Downtrodden. Let's go back and hear that word.
Being singled out and canceled, but it's also partly willingness on the part of the elite to sacrifice the genuinely downtrodden and poor to their moral presumptions, to their costless virtue signaling. And that happens consistently throughout the West now. Almost all the progressive agenda, including the open immigration policies, are absolutely devastating to the people who can least afford to be devastated. So I would say the elite in Great Britain made a choice to sacrifice the children of working class Brits to the moral grandstanding of their progressive elitism.
Moral grandstanding. This is drawing attention to oneself by saying virtuous things, moral things, things that sound ethical. But again, these things do not suggest that that person or that group of people are genuinely ethical and moral and scrupulous. This is grandstanding, drawing a lot of attention to yourself. And if you want to look at more example sentences with these words and phrases, check out the description. I hope you